telling you, if the walls could talk in these cemeteries, the stories that would come out. Hey, come and time travel with me. Goldfields Cemetery, Bunningyong Cemetery, pretty old school on the Goldfields, and we're snooping about. And what we're looking for is we're looking for the old school stories of the time. Believe me when I tell you, dudes, there's some interesting stuff in this place. We're getting after it. We're going to find it, and I'm going to bring them to you. Let's do this. Robert McFarlane Harvey. Born in Glasgow, Scotland, he studied surveying at Glasgow University and came to Victoria in 1852. Between 1853 and 1856, he was a surveyor in the Victorian Lands Department. He went into private practice as a mining surveyor. You can find his name on survey maps throughout the Ballarat area across our history. In 1857, he married a chick named Jane Rankin. They had 17 children. Get out of here, man. I didn't stutter, did I? 17 children. Yep, 17. That's got to be some kind of record. 17 children. In 1858, he was appointed Secretary and Engineer of the Bunningyong Roads Board and was Town Clerk of Bunningyong between 1878 and 1896. That's not bad going, man. There's a decent resume. How's that? 17 children, I couldn't get past that bit.
Oh my.
Wow. This guy here, they say John James Hallett. The MD, I'm not sure what MD stands for, but he was a general practitioner, a GP, a doctor, and he resided here in the Bunningyong district. He died in 1877. This is a decent sized monument here. This is the Reverend Thomas Hastie. He was a Scottish-born Presbyterian minister, it says. He established the first Christian church at Bunningyong in the year 1847. He had the support of the Learmonth brothers, who were pretty notable dudes back in the day, the Learmonth brothers. They founded the township of Learmonth. He also established the first inland boarding school in 1848. It's not a bad resume. He's buried here with his wife Jane, who died in 1901 at aged 80 years. Here we've got a dude by the name of Robert Gillespie. He arrived here in Bunningyong as a young man from Scotland, and he managed the Learmonth Brothers Bunningyong station in 1853. He became the first manager of Bunningyong's bank in the year 1860. He would have seen some crazy stuff being a bank manager in 1860, especially the first bank. Wouldn't have been very sophisticated, I wouldn't have thought. It says that he married a lady by the name of Martha Scott after his first wife died. They went on to have a large family and he became a highly respected banker in Melbourne. It also says that he was friends with the minister that we just saw. This one's pretty wild. We got two guys here, Walter Parlane and Peter McNee. In 1864, these two dudes were killed in a mining accident in the nearby Bunningyong Gold Mining Company. The roof of the shaft they were working in caved in on them. It says that Parlane was aged 32 years. He was a native of Glasgow and he was a married man with no family, but he'd been in the colony in this district for about 11 years. His mate McNee, he was 39 years old. He was the son of two people who'd been in the colony for some 14 years and he was a printer by trade. But nonetheless, you You muck around in the mines, man, and that killed a lot of guys back in the day. Not that they would have been mucking around, but you know what I mean? Like, that's the gamble that you take if you want to be a miner and you want to play, let's find some gold and make the owner of the mine wealthy. It's pretty much what happened to a lot of them guys back then. It's very sad. Dr. Frank Longden. He, the year 1889, he was appointed town doctor of Bunningyong, and he practiced for some 46 years until he retired in the year 1935. That's it's not a bad effort. This is Frank's plot right here on the right-hand side. He's in there with his wife. I don't know who Cedric is, but if you look into this one a little bit, I'm going down the rabbit hole with this a bit. But Dr. Frank was in there, he's been put in there last, so July 26, 1938. Not long prior to that, this Cedric, I don't know who Cedric was, but Cedric's in there as well. That's like 3 months prior to Frank. But if you go back 3 years, Frank's wife, Josephine, she's passed away first. So she died in February 1935. So Josephine's passed away, they put her in the ground. Cedric, he follows, and then Frank last. But what I notice a lot is that with long-term relationships like this, when one goes, the other soon follows. And that's, yeah, I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but you see that a real lot. We've got a sizable plot here. This thing's massive. Quite a big stone on it. Robert Louis Bell. I'm not going to preach about his life story. He was a wool grower here. He come from Scotland via Tasmania, lived in Tasmania for a while, then he came here in the 1850s. But what put him here was a lightning strike near his home when returning from Ballarat in 1881. That's pretty wild. A lightning strike in 1881. I mean, there was always lightning. I'm not saying there wasn't always lightning, but how do they come up with that back then? Like a guy just turns up dead in the street in his buggy, or when I say a buggy, I mean a horse-drawn buggy, or is he just like dead beside the road and they figured that it was a lightning strike? I don't know. They say it blows your feet off or whatever. I don't know how much truth's in that either, but a lightning strike, 1881. One thing about the Bunningyong Cemetery that I've always sort of pondered on and scratched my head a lot about is there's a lot of vast land out through here, you know, like you can see the dipples and dints of graves that have long since been forgotten about, but it seems very, I don't know, unfinished. Is that a nice word to use? I don't know. But it seems very, I don't know, like there's a lot missing. Like there's a lot more that could be told here. It's, look at that vast land through there, like look at that. It's a massive area, just with miscellaneous graves sort of scattered. I find that bizarre, man. I always found that bizarre when they're, it's like it everywhere. Like a lot of the old cemeteries are like that. It's like it right here where I'm standing. Look at these, you know, indentations of, this is a big plot here. There's 1, 2 mounds. There's another one here. Just, I know I've said it before, but like, just because, you know, just because you got buried didn't mean that you got buried with any dignity. Like, not everybody had money. So the majority of people didn't have no money. So they just dig a hole and throw you in it, man. As rough as it is, that's how it went down. That's, it's wild to think about when you look at these old places. It's wild. I present one of the sad stories of the Goldfields here, and there's a lot of them, but this is just another one to add to the queue. Martha and James Crombie, and they immigrated from Scotland at the beginning of the gold rush. They were farmers and they set up at a place called Hardy's Hill, not far from here. They had a baby daughter who passed away in 1853. They buried 2 more children before Martha herself died in 1895. The husband, he erected this monument in their honour. And it's worth noting, the monument is built by our buddy F.W. Commons. That's pretty special. This here, we've got the grave of a guy by the name of William Wykes. William and his family, or the family name, 4 generations of the Wykes family name, carried the butcher shop in Bunningyong, so they were butchers. From the year 1864 to the year 2000, like I said, 4 generations of butchers. In here, his daughter-in-law's also in here. She died at the age of 20. His second wife, Elizabeth, strangely enough, and their 3 children. This is a little bit of compromise. This is what I would call compromise. I wonder if children did that. I know this is just a mound. It looks like a big tuft of grass, but it holds the graves of 6 children. Yep, 6. It was a miner's family, and they resided in a little township called Magpie, which is probably a 15-minute sprint from where I stand at the minute. There's little George, he died in 1872. George II was 5 months old in 1873. Emma, 3 months old in 1875. Julia, in 1880, she was 9 months old. Joseph, 9 weeks old in 1882. And much later, Thomas, he was only 9 days old. He died in 1896. I'm going to talk about tragedy. Most people nowadays couldn't even fathom that sort of sadness. People now just probably wouldn't continue with that kind of sadness. It's rough, man. It's rough to ponder on, don't you reckon? Yeah, tuft of grass back there, that's heavy. A story like that never gets old to me. It never, the punch of it never really goes away, I don't reckon. Like, you could call it just an old ghost story or whatever, or just an old forgotten story, but seriously, man, them impact like that never goes away, you know what I mean? It's always heavy and it's always cutting, I reckon. Got a guy in here called Albert Peyroux. Surname's spelt P-E-Y-R-O-U-X. I reckon the X is silent. He died of typhoid fever. He was only 25 years old. It's not much of an innings. He was born in 1864. He worked at the Bunningyong tannery. Got another sizable plot here. Some of them are big, man. The key feature of this one is it holds the Reverend Garrett Russell. He was born in Ireland in the year 1820 and he passed away in the year 1877. But he's mostly known for building the Holy Trinity Bluestone Church in Warren Heap Street. This tree's got a bit of height on it, but it carries another one of them really shitty stories, to be honest. It's got the Sykes children here. See, life on the Goldfields was pretty rough, man. But this family, they buried 8. There was a mining family. They lost Emily, 9 months old. She died in 1867 from a teething infection. Alice in 1874, she was 17 months old from a disease called dentition. John, at age 4, he died that same year from convulsions. Convulsions. 1875, death came to Ada. She was 7 weeks old. She died of diarrhea. The disease also killed her sister Rose at 11 months. 1876, 5 months old, Walter. Charles at age 10 months, he died from teething. That was in the year 1876. And 1880 saw John pass away at age 4 months from cholera. They're right here, man. Like I said, it always weighs in really heavy, I reckon, and it just never gets old. This is cool, man. Dr. Richard Power. He was born in Dublin, Ireland, and he was the first doctor in inland Victoria. That's a big claim, man. The first one in inland Victoria. He set up his practice in the year 1842, right here in Bunningyong, with his wife Mary and their 4 children. They say that stress was the cause of his premature death in the year 1852. So 10 years he lasted in this practice, and from the death that I've seen here that the Goldfields had bought most families, I can see why. He was one of the first burials in this cemetery. That is wild. Right here we got our buddy Thomas Shepherd. He's a brewer. He's responsible for the Bunningyong brewery. He was a chemist. (1856), and it operated till his death in 1873. A brewer. This is the grave of Henry Joseph de Souza. They say he was a philanthropist. He was a very successful mine owner, is what he's been described as. They reckon he was a bit of a classic. He'd do very peculiar mine opening ceremonies, which at the time drew a lot of media attention. He was crowned the Gold King of Bunningyong in 1883. There's a little park in the centre of town that's actually named after him, which is pretty cool. Very cool. He had a big mine just across the road from the park, in an area that they called Scotchman's Lead. I'm familiar with it. But I reckon he was a real classic sort of a dude. He'd do all sorts of quirky, funny stuff to get the attention of the media, and any publicity was good publicity as far as he was concerned. Yeah, this guy here, man, he seems like he was a real, class clown, you know, one of them larrikins that everybody wanted to hang out with, just waiting for his next gag. Anyway, that's where he's at. This grave looks a little bit more late model than what I'd normally present here, but it's not. It's got a very old story. It's a story about this dude, man. His name's Edmund Henry Collis. That's him right there at the top. Died 1895, aged 63 years. But you want to hear this guy's story. Has he got a story to tell you? Edmund came to Victoria in the year 1860. He fell in love and married a girl named Hannah. But unfortunately, Hannah passed away in the year 1867, so he'd only been in Victoria for 7 years. Marries this girl. She died at the age of 26. He goes on to remarry another girl by the name of Catherine. But somewhere in here, this is where it gets a bit quirky. Edmund had 5 children and they all died. Now, it doesn't say how, when, why. All we know is that Edmund had 5 children, and I think they were from his first wife, Hannah. They all died. That's bizarre to me, even in those times. But nonetheless, they've all passed away, and they're all buried with Hannah. They're all buried with his first wife. He still carried on with Catherine until he died at age 63. Like I said from the start, he's died at age 63 and been put here. The year prior to his death, their son Thomas, who I believe was probably put here first, being the year 1894. So 1894, Thomas was here first. The year later, Edmund passes away, so they put him in here with Thomas. Catherine goes on to live another 33 years. She passed away at the age of 84, the year 1928, which I know it's approaching 100 years ago, dudes, but it's really not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. But she lived another 33 odd years after his death. But how's his story? Like crappy luck from the beginning when his first partner, Hannah, passed away. She was only 26 years old, dude. 26 and dies. Leaves him with a handful of kids. He goes on to find love again in Catherine. But then the children all die. And then he has more tragedy with their child that they had together passing away. It's an entanglement of a horrific story, really. But Catherine obviously stayed true to Edmund, and she stayed loyal and come here to meet him in the end 33 years later. So she obviously never remarried or, you know, she just went on and lived her days out and then came to be with him here in the end. I reckon that's cool. That is a cool story. Man, I'm telling you, if the walls could talk in these cemeteries, the stories that would come out, they're crazy. Like the little bit of information that you can find on some of the people that are, you know, in these joints. I mean, dude, they've all got a story. All of them have got a story. Some of them are just wild, don't you reckon? Like way over here, look at them. I mean, they're crazy stories. I love pondering on it. That rabbit hole, I keep calling it that. Man, you go down that rabbit hole. Endless stories here at the Bunningyong Cemetery. And there's plenty of cemeteries just like it. You know, they've all got a story to tell, you know, they've all got that story, but have fun looking around it, man. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next adventure. All the best.